Welcome back to the channel, good friends. Brian from Apex Auction Car Reconditioning. I would like to continue the top 5 series detailing products and tools. And that's where we cover the top 5 in each category, in just about every category that you name down in the comment section. I am making a list and I will cover that category for you. Today, I would like to continue the series with polishing pads or paint correction pads. So let's first kick off the pad top 5 with, let's say, the top 5 pads that we use here at the shop across the spectrum. That will cover harsh cutting pads all the way down to finish and jeweling pads, and we'll even cover glass pads here as well. And then in future videos, we'll break that down further. I'll give you my top 5 in cutting pads, wool pads, foam pads, one-step pads, finish pads, jeweling pads, all glass pads, and we'll really break down each category in great detail, and I'll give you my top 5 and why. But again, today, we're just gonna start with probably the top 5 used pads here in the shop that cover all categories. Let's get started. Well, let's start off with cutting. And if we really want to cut to the chase and we want to keep our overhead down and be profitable and get the job done in an efficient manner, we are going to reach for one of 2 pads. And they are both from Lake Country, and the first one is the pre-washed lamb's wool pad. Now this pad here is a wool that is attached to a foam interface, so it's kind of a hybrid type of pad, and the fibers are about a 1/2 inch long. Why is that important? Well, that means you can use this pad on the rotary polisher, force-driven polisher, force rotation, your orbital polishers, dual action polisher. If you're going to use it with a dual action polisher, I would then use it on something with the longest throw possible, so those fibers get a chance to do something. If it's on a real short throw 8mm entry-level polisher, it's not going to do a whole lot, because all you're going to do is kind of mush these fibers around a little bit, and it's not going to move far enough for the fibers to rub up against the paint and shave it and correct it. Hope that makes sense. Me, personally, I love the pre-washed lamb's wool pad on a rotary polisher. And when it is on a rotary polisher, guys, this pad is second to none when it comes to cut. Now, you cannot get away with adding a second step if you use this pad, especially on a rotary. And that will be to finish down, because there will be some hazing and marring left over from this cut. You team up with this pad with a cutting compound and you're going to have a little bit of hazing, and there's not much you can do about it, and that's going to be on soft, medium, or hard clear coat. And as we bring you in, you can see the hook and loop here. And then the wool fiber is only about a 1/2 inch long, and they are woven to a foam interface. And that gives you a really smooth ride across the surface. They are so fun to use. And because of their name, pre-wash low lint, you're not going to have a whole lot of lint flying through the air, going up your nose, making you sneeze, flying over the place and making the car dirty and giving you a whole lot more work to do. These are just incredible pads all the way around, and they last for a long time. How they wear down is the fibers just get shorter and shorter, and after a while you can't use them with the rotary. I'll finish them off on a force-driven polisher or a 21mm throw polisher, and then they finally get thrown away. But number 5 for me, you know what, I'm not even going to put these in order. I'm just going to tell you my 5 favorite and most used pads in the shop, and then you can put them in whatever order you'd like to. This one here I wanted to talk about first because it's just a fun, exciting pad to use, and I highly recommend it. Now this is a 5.5 inch pad. You can get them 7 inch, 6 inch, 5 inch. You can get 3 inch. You can get small 2 inch for mini polishers. The 5.5 inch here, you're looking at about $10.75 or so. Worth every penny. Every pad that I mentioned here, you're going to be able to find on Amazon, or I'm not a sponsored video, so I may not even have links down below. I'm not worried about affiliate links. I'm just worried about you guys getting correct information on the best pads available and what I use and what I think are just incredible tools in the detailing industry. Now, I do want to mention, now I use those for hard, stubborn, clear coat and cars that are just absolutely hammered and need to be corrected quickly. I can't spend half a day on just removing swirls and scratches, so I'll use that one to get the job done. Now, on medium to soft clears, I'm going to grab another type of wool pad made by Lake Country, but it's going to be the purple, and they do have a blue one as well, but this purple one right here has nanoparticles within the foam structure of the base here, where the wool is knitted to, that keep the fibers from getting matted down. And I wanted to keep one before I started to clean it off that I used for 3 passes, or how can I say this, after loading up the pad 3 times and working on a panel. And you can see some right here in a small area are matted down a little bit, but the rest are still kind of standing up. They're free from tangling around each other. And how that helps you is for the pad to be effective cutting. If a pad gets matted down, no matter if it's microfiber or wool, it'll be less effective. The fibers are all laying over, they're caked and twisted around each other, caked with product and spent clear coat, and you're just wasting your time at that point. So try to clean off the pads between every pass, or at least as you move on from one panel to another. So let me bring this in and show you. After loading up the pad 3 times and working on the panel, it's not crazy caked down like some of these other pads get. See how a lot of these are still standing on end? And that's the nanoparticles within the wool fibers that are laced and attached to a synthetic foam base here. And then you have your hook and loop. These here are more expensive. They're closer to $12. And you can get these in all different sizes. You can use this on 3-inch rotary polisher. These fibers are a little bit longer, so I would just reserve these for a forced rotation, a rotary polisher, or if you have to, a 21 or a 25 millimeter throw dual action polisher. Those 2 there will take care of any serious cutting that you need to do quickly and efficiently. All right, we're gonna come down with aggression a little bit, and we're gonna go to one of my all-time favorite pads ever since I've started polishing, shining up cars, paint correction, and that is going to be the Eurofiber 50/50 pad. These are from Buff and Shine. Now, these are a little bit more expensive, and they're close to $13, $12.99 in some areas. This is the 5.5 inch. They have everything from 6.5 inch, 5. You can go 3 inch. You can have little 2. I found 2 inch pads for the micro polishers, and this pad here has 2 different types of microfiber sewn within the pad. The black ones and the yellow one are the black ones and the white ones. The black ones are polishing fibers, and the white ones are cutting fibers. And they're on a foam interlace here, and then you have the hook and loop. There you go, the black and white microfiber. And these are excellent for today's paint. 2020, 2021, 2022, and newer, as they are transitioning from a real hard solvent-based clear to your water-based. And that means you don't need a pad with just cutting fibers. These are mixed in, so it makes it a little bit less aggressive. And they just do a great job on one-step transformations and corrections, and they cut your time down. Now, they will cut out of the gate depending on the type of polish or correction fluid that you team this up with, and you can also polish to a nice finish and finish down with this pad depending on the type of clear coat or finish you're working on. I find on really soft clear coats that you still have to make an extra step, and these still will mar a little bit. For, I'm going to say, a good 80% of the work that comes in through the shop we can take care of with this pad alone. You can use this pad and surround it with different types of polishes and be successful, just like you could take a one-step polish like 3D1 and surround it with different types of pads. Two different ways of looking at it, but this is a crazy popular pad, and I've highly recommend. I've never talked to anybody from Buff and Shine. I don't know anybody that works at Buff and Shine. Not a sponsored video. And when I put links down below, if I remember to put a link down below for pads, they're going to be from all over the place, mostly Amazon. You can find these pads on any detailing supply store on Amazon, and sometimes even locally, depending on what stores you have. We have Detailing Worlds near us. They carry them. I'm awful grateful. So in a pinch, if something happens, I can run down and get one. If something happens, well, what would happen? Let me show you what could happen. Here within the last couple of years, this pad, you need to really watch how much heat you've introduced to it. Keep the surface cool. Don't overwork an area. Don't overwork the pad. Don't get it extremely hot, or they will start to delaminate. A lot of pads will delaminate on the outside here at the foam interlace. These like to come apart right in the center, and that's because that's where the most heat, even with this hole punched out here for heat to escape, and with some of the backing plates, it still has a problem if you overwork it. I had one of my young new apprentices overworked the pad, and this is what happened, and this is now junk. So if there's going to be one pad that I had to recommend, just one out of everything available, it would be the Buff and Shine Eurofiber 50/50 pad. Go out and try it at some point. All right, working our way down to an even less aggressive pad, what we use for refining. You can also use this pad to remove light imperfections, light swirls, maybe a little bit of hazing, but for the most part, we use the Rupees DA Fine pad, which was made for a dual action polisher to refine the correction as a second or third step. Meaning we're either removing 3000 grit sand marks or we're removing haze from a cutting step. And I just mentioned that earlier with the pre-washed lamb's wool pad and the other pad there. It's going to leave a little bit of hazing behind, and then this guy right here will take care of that and refine it to a crazy, incredible glossy finish. Now, I do have their ultrafine pad here as well, so I would use this for hard and medium clear coat. And then on your very finicky soft clear coat, I would use this to refine and finish down. So these are hand in hand. They're very close. This is just a little bit softer and a little bit less aggressive. These are about $10.99 for the 5.5. Gear-driven orbital polishers, and they have the beveled edge here so they can reach in nice tight corners. A great pad. Quality. When they start to fall apart, you'll see excessive dusting, and all that is the foam particles breaking down and flying all over the place looking like dust. For us, we could probably get about 4 or 5 corrections out of each of these, so you know that price is well worth it, and these are incredible pads to refine. You're going to see a pattern here that as we go from one step to another, we're kind of switching brands and companies. I've said before, my detailing arsenal spans many, many, many different types of companies. I'm not secluded just to one company. As a fanboy, I try to find things that give me the optimal benefits and results, and I carry that across the spectrum of whatever services that we have here. Excellent pads. I recommend. Now, all their other pads, their cutting pads, their microfiber pads, meh. I've tried them. Don't impress me enough to go back to them. These I have to have here. Gotta have them. All right, we're going to go even further down the rabbit hole, and we're going to get into jeweling or refining on real soft, whatever the softest clear coat and finicky clear coat you can think of that scratches even when you touch it and wipe off correction dust. The CarPro Gloss Pad. I don't have any here, it's being used, but I need it in my arsenal, and that will cover the spectrum from cutting all the way to finishing. And the Gloss Pad is a polyurethane Japanese soft cell foam pad that is made for dual action polishers. You can use it with the rotary if you know how to finish down, but great for dual action of any type, 8mm, 12mm, 15, 25, 21mm, whatever size orbit you have on your dual action polisher. The CarPro Gloss Pad will work, and I use it for jeweling and getting just crazy unmatched gloss before protection with those pads, and they're great for those super soft, finicky finishes. $10.99 for a 5-inch pad, you know, well worth it to me. They hold up well. The adhesive between the backing or the hook and loop and the foam itself doesn't separate. It's just the foam breaks down before anything else. It will just start to disintegrate, and that's when you need to swap out to a new pad. That takes care of paint. I do have one more pad that I'd like to cover today, and that is for glass. And glass is such a pain. We only work on glass if it is a very, very light, superficial wiper mark. Anything else, just get that glass replaced. You'll have one windshield under your insurance that they'll cover that first one without giving you a problem. After that, you're going to have to really fight for a new windshield. But it's so much quicker and easier than trying to polish out a deeper scratch. But when I do need to remove water spots or very, very fine, super fine scratches, I will use the CarPro Glass Pad, which is a fast-cutting Glass pad. This is a 5-inch, and you can see just how thin and stiff the material is, and it needs to be aggressive to do any type of work on glass. Glass is very hard, 20 times harder than clear coat, so this is what you need and what I would recommend for your glass needs. And you're going to come across in auto detailing something that comes in that you'll need these for, and they sell them for 3-inch polishers and mini polishers as well. So they cover the spectrum of sizes of whatever polisher you have. That is going to do it for this video. I love this series. I could talk about detailing tools and, well, detailing in general all day long, but we'll stop the video here. Keep it at a reasonable length so you can enjoy the rest of your day. But this is the first video on pads of many, because there's so many categories. But these are the pads that I have to have here at the shop to get the results that we want for our customers. And I thought I would share that with you first before we go any further. If you have any questions or if you'd like to add anything, down in the comment section. Again, if you want to keep track of your favorite channel, interact with them, comment, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video.